All right, hi everybody. My name is Jason Blanchard. It's 5 o'clock, so I'm going to get started. I'm going to stay to the podium, and this hurts me. I have a hard time just standing still, so I'm going to do the best I can. My name is Jason Blanchard, like I said, and since 2020, wow, it's weird to say it like that. Since 2020 of March, when the pandemic started, I started a live stream on Twitch where I help people job hunt. Since then, 207 people have found jobs, and I got really good at it. And helping 207 people find jobs meant I had to figure out how to help 207 people find jobs, which meant I got really, really good at helping people find jobs. So if I ever need a job, I'm good. I'm good. Okay. So what I'm going to do today is just give you a real quick crash course, 30-minute style, on like how to job hunt like a hacker. Some of the people earlier today who came to the hiring village and said hi to me, I see some of you here, so welcome back, it's good to see you. And I'm gonna try to cover all the most pertinent information in 30 minutes because this is 11 hours of content in 30 minutes. So if you ever wanna see the other 10 hours, 10 and a half hours, it's on YouTube. Just do a search for Jason Blanchard, how to job hunt like a hacker. All right, so I know you can't see this very well, and that's okay, because I'm going to describe it as well as I can. If you want to get closer, feel free to do so. But what we have here is LinkedIn. Prior to March 2020, LinkedIn was like, okay, you know, I checked in. Some people checked LinkedIn like, oh, that's right, I have a LinkedIn profile. You know, like, you barely remembered your LinkedIn profile, but all of a sudden on like March 2020, when they laid off, you know, hundreds and thousands of people, then people really found LinkedIn. And so during that period of time, people like took it more seriously. They built their LinkedIns and stuff. And if you're like, why does this have anything to do with job hunting like a hacker? I will get there. Okay. So LinkedIn became like the thing that people went to. And so since it's the thing that people go to, that's fine. All right. It's fine. I'm hotspotting if anyone else is using my hotspot right now. Thank you. Yeah, all right. It's not showing up. B-sides guest, Jackie? How do I fix that real quick? B-sides guest? Jacqueline? Jacqueline Blanchard?
Just try connecting again.
Okay.
Do you want a hotspot for me? I mean, Brittany can help you. You're asking the wrong board members.
Oh, I did it. Okay. Well done, Brittany. Okay. Okay, so there's a bunch of things that you can do to your LinkedIn profile, but let's get into like how to actually build a resume. What I'm gonna do right now is go to this page right here, and I'm going to see the most important thing I'm going to see today, and it's this. All right, I'm gonna type it real big. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to type it on the screen because I'm used to being a live streamer and I'm not used to seeing the humans watching me do this. So here we go. Humans, there we go, suck at describing, that's fine, themselves. They are much better at finding something that describes themselves. So I don't know about you, but if someone's like, hey, now that you've been unemployed, why don't you just build a resume? If anyone ever uses the words just when they ask you to do something, it means they have no idea how hard it is to do the thing that they've just asked you to do. They're like, just make a resume. And you're like, fuck. Okay. So this is typically what human beings would do. You're unemployed, and since you're unemployed, you're upset, and since you're upset, that's the best time to ever write a resume. And so you're sitting here looking at a blank sheet of paper, and all of a sudden you have to figure out a way to describe who you are in a way that gets you a job that will feed you and house you and make sure that you don't die or something. Like it's healthcare and all these, like, and so you're like, Jason. And then it falls apart from there. And at this point, you're like, do I put my phone? Maybe? Do I put an email? I think. What about a LinkedIn? What about my LinkedIn account? All right, so at this point, and then you start like, should I make this bold? And like, this is what you accomplish on day one. And at this point, you like fall apart. You're like, that was enough today. And so the next day, you have to then give yourself a title, and it might be, do I put aspiring? It's always a question, like aspiring? Junior? SOC analyst? Pen tester? Like, at this point, you don't know what to put. I don't know, has this happened to anybody? You just you look at this, you okay? Okay, all right. And then you're like, do I put an about me section? Do I put an executive summary? Do I put this? Do I put that? What do I put here? I don't know how to describe myself. This sucks. I hate all of this. And then it's like, well, what skills do I have? Do I have bow hunting skills? Do I have Liger drawing skills? And so if you've ever looked at a blank page and tried to figure out what the heck to put on this, I get it. It sucks. Now, the other way you could do this is go to document. And then they're like, would you like to make a template? Here, let's go from a template gallery. And you're like, okay. I don't know about you, but a template is only as good until you actually use it. The moment you put words in a template, the whole thing falls apart. So here I'm like, all right, Jason Blanchard. Crap. Now what? Do I put my address? Do I put my phone? And then look at this part for skills. How many of you can put all your skills you have in this section? That makes no sense. And then you get down here and it says 3 companies. And some of you are like, I haven't worked at 3 companies. I'm getting ready to graduate. I'm getting ready to do this. Or I worked at the same company for 15 years. Do I put the company that I worked at 15 years ago, before? Does that make any sense? And then I only get room for 2 bullet points. 15 years, 2 bullet points, and then this other company I was out for 6 months, also 2 bullet points. It doesn't make any sense to do a template like this. And then school, education, where do I put my certs? Awards, I never got an award. Oh God, I never got an award. And so I don't know about you, but that part sucks too. So I get back over here and I'm like, well, how do I build a resume? How do I do this? And so it was about 3 months into the live stream when all of a sudden I was helping someone with a job hunt, and it was like, oh, damn it. I wish I would have known this 3 months ago. I would have helped a lot of other people. So here's what you do. Here's how to build a resume. Here's how to put this together. So what you do is do a search for the job that you want. You do a search for the job that you want. So if you want to be a SOC analyst, I'm not saying you do, you go over here to SOC analyst, and then you click on jobs. The reason why I use LinkedIn is because I like LinkedIn, because everything's in LinkedIn. The jobs are in LinkedIn, the people are in LinkedIn, the recruiters are in LinkedIn, everyone's in LinkedIn. Glassdoor, Monster, I don't care. LinkedIn is just the place that I like to go. So if I go here to SOC analyst, and then it's the United States, and I hit refresh, because for some reason it never comes up with all the jobs available. There are currently 17,028 jobs available in the United States for SOC analyst. Now, those of you who have been job hunting, or you will job hunt, how many of you have gone to you look for entry-level jobs, and then you just get pissed off? Entry-level SOC analyst jobs, and then immediately, I hate this. All right, so instead of doing that, there's a simple little trick where you just type in the words -senior and -SR. That's the abbreviation for senior and senior. As soon as you do that and then you hit search, it will get rid of all the senior level jobs and senior jobs. And so what you're left with is 12,492 SOC jobs available in the United States. The reason why you don't do a search, here, if I go over here to filters and it's I'm looking for an internship, or I'm looking for entry level. Never, ever, 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 ever click these buttons. And the reason why is because the person who uploaded it didn't care enough to click the right button. They didn't. Why would they want to limit the amount of people who see the job posting? And the way that they do their job is the more people who see it, then people fill those positions. And so why would they want to limit the amount of people who see their job postings? So they don't care enough to click the right button. And so if you're like, really? Yes, really. So don't ever, 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 ever click these. Just put in -senior or -SR. And then if you want to get a job up here, do a search for the past week. Past week. Not all time, not last 24 hours, just the past week. And then if you want to know why, you can come up to talk to me later on, because I don't have the time. And if you want to work remotely, then you click the remote button and then you hit search. All right, so there were 642 results of remote SOC analyst work that are not senior level jobs in the United States posted in the last week that you can apply for. Now, if I go over here, I see 3 applicants, and then if I go over here, I see 50 applicants, which sounds made up. And then if I go over here, I see 2 applicants 3 days ago. This is where you start looking for what you should apply for. Now, how many of you, raise your hand, are you the kind of person who finds a job description, immediately jumps down to the bullet points here, looks for the one that you can't do, and then you quit applying for that job? You find the job description, you're interested in it, you then scroll through all the bullet points, you find the one that you can't do, and you said, well, I guess I can't do this job. Any of you? Anybody? Anyone? Okay, all right. Stop. Raise your hand if you think you need to have 100% of the bullet points in order to apply. Raise your hand if you think you need to have 90% of the bullet points to apply. Raise your hand if you think it's 80%, 70%, 50%. You know what I love? All of you gave like different answers, and that is the exact answer. Who knows? Who knows? And so what I'm going to encourage you to do today is this. So the main takeaway from today, the other main takeaway, besides humans suck at describing themselves, they're much better at finding something that describes themselves, is this. Don't say no on behalf of someone else. Here's what that means, is that you will come across a job description and you'll look at it and go like, yeah, I want to do that. And then internally you're like, but they'll probably say no. Or you find another one, you're like, oh, that's awesome. I want to apply. No, they'll probably say no. Ooh, that looks like a really awesome job, but it's at Microsoft and they would never hire someone like me. Like, I don't know about you, but the problem with job hunting is that your self-confidence sucks and your self-doubt is super through the roof, and that's not the time to make decisions, especially for somebody else. And so whenever you're job hunting, if you see something that you want, please don't say no on behalf of somebody else. At least apply and let them say no on behalf of themselves instead of you saying no on behalf of them. Does that make sense? So if you're job hunting and all of a sudden you come across something and you're like, that looks really cool, I will apply for it. And they may say no, but let them say no. Okay, so now that you found this job over here and you're like, oh, look at all this stuff that I should be able to know, but I don't know all those things. I wish I knew all those things. Well, let's stop. Let's stop job hunting for a second, and let's put your resume together. So what I want to talk about right now is called a catch-all resume. Catch-all resume, and it's just a term that I call that I didn't know what else to call it, so I called it a catch-all resume. And here's what it is. It's you scrolling through every LinkedIn job post you can possibly find and then just harvest anything that is true about you. As you scroll through LinkedIn and you go from job post to job post, you just harvest every bullet point you find that is true about you. So what that looks like is we're over here right now looking at past week, remote jobs, senior minus. All right, don't do that. We're just going to go over here and say any time, and we're going to say any job. All right, so we're going to say any job. So what this looks like is I'm going to look at all 12,471 jobs that are not senior level SOC analyst jobs. I'm going to click on the first one here. And as I scroll through and it says review, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Review and develop metrics related to the operation and maturity of the JSP SOC. Now, you would just remove JSP because I don't know what the heck that stands for, but it would say something like review and develop metrics related to the operation and maturation of the SOC. If this is a true thing about you, then copy it. You go over to a brand new sheet, you then hit new document, and then you paste it. Any true bullet point about you becomes something that you harvest from job descriptions which were written by HR professionals and recruiters, so it's written in the knowledge and speak that they speak to each other. And so if you work with large cybersecurity operations data sets and implement error checking data quality assessments and queries, if this is a true thing about you, then you would copy this, and then you'd go over to your document, and then you'd paste it. And for some reason, I don't know why both bullet points aren't in the same damn place, but for some reason it isn't, and that's fine. Okay. So if it's true about you, here's the thing about this. I would never in a million years sit down at a blank sheet of paper and say, what is true about me? You know what? I work with large cybersecurity operations data sets and implement error checking, data quality assessments, and queries. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't. And so when you go through and you harvest the bullet points that are true about you, they're true. You just found them. It's like, all right, I'm a Virgo. So I'm just going to type in Virgo up here, and then I'm going to go over here to images, and then let's click on this one. I don't know what that is. Natural-born detectives always give people the benefit of the doubt, tends to suffer in silence and keep to themselves. Will always have your back, does not like to be told what to do, super high standards. Nailed it. Nailed it. So when it comes to job hunting, I would never sit down and say, natural-born detective. I always give people the best. It's true, but I would never write it. And so when I went through and harvested every single bullet point I could find about me through job descriptions of things that I'm capable of, I found things like this. Strong analytical chops, able to distill it all down for your grandma. I don't know what that means, but I was like, sure, it makes sense. Adept at simplifying, communicating complex ideas to broad audiences. Nailed it. I like this one. I found it on a job description that says, I have big ideas and big ambitions. True. But if I was sitting down to a blank sheet of paper, I would have never written that. I would have never thought to write, I have big ideas and big ambitions. One of my favorites is mainly sedentary in an office environment. Yeah, accurate. Now, one of the other things that I do recommend is there are two types of job description. There's the narrative job description or the narrative resume that says, here's who I am as a human being, right? Because as a human being, I can accomplish anything that you ask me to do, but then I have skills. So there's the narrative, here's who I am as a human, but then there's also the skills and abilities that I have. So I have this section that's called Who Am I? And that's where I find any of the things like excellent critical thinking and passion for creative problem solving. Like, sure, okay. But then when you get actually down to the skills where it says manage client, customers, brands, internal partners for planning, creation, All right, so that's skills. So when you go through job descriptions, you'll find things that are like, who am I as a human being? And then what skills do I have? And so just sort those through however you want to sort those through. One of my favorite things to do, how many of you here have ever had a job? Raise your hand. Okay. Did you take the job description that you used to apply for and save it? Yeah, because that's great. The moment you take on a new job at any company, just take the job description that you applied for, copy that thing, and just drop it into LinkedIn for the job that you're now doing. You know, change some of the tense, change some of the wording around to make sure that it's you, not like the job description part. But that's you, that's the job that you're doing. Like, you don't have to fill in the blank and then 8 years goes by and then all of a sudden you have to job hunt again. You're like, oh, what do I do in my job? Oh, I can't think of it. I can't think of what I do all day. And so I used to work at Sands. My old boss is out there right now. We're right across from each other. It's not weird. And so we have Sands Marketing, where I just went in and I found the job description and I was like, yep, that's what I did. Those are the things I did. And I just harvested my old job description. And then I made it 100% true about me. Because how many of you have ever gotten a job and then you start doing the job and you're like, well, that's not what the job description said. That's fine. It's a little different now. You have that little part at the bottom that says duties as assigned. And you're like, you got me. You got me. All right, so now that you have this, okay, so all of you here, you will then, take 2 hours of your time, set a timer, because if not, you'll get like super distracted, like, I'm starting to apply for jobs. No, that's not what this time is for. You just take 2 hours and you go through and you harvest all the bullet points you can find that are true about you. Make sure that they're in the proper tense. Before all job resumes should have each bullet point start with an action verb in the proper tense. Hopefully that just made sense. When you build out a resume, the first word in your here's what I can do is an action verb in the proper tense. So if it's something you're doing, it's in the present tense. If it's something that you did, it's in the past tense. And if you don't know what action verbs are, that's fine. I had to look it up too. 185 action verbs for job hunting. So 185 action verbs that will make your resume shine, cool. If you led a project, you chaired, controlled, coordinated, executed, damn it, stop. Operated, orchestrated, organized, oversaw, planned, produced, and programmed. So you want to use those action verbs at the beginning of each and every bullet point of here's my skills and abilities. Does that make sense? Cool. All right, so if I go back over here to Jason's catch-all resume, well, what do you do with it now? What do you do once you've gathered and harvested all these bullet points? Thanks for asking. You go back over to your LinkedIn profile here, and then you click on your LinkedIn profile, and then you make it look nice. This is where you put all the things, just double, there you go. Okay, cool. And so if we go down here, you'll see that, I could create experience. One more thing, experience is not what you got paid to do. I want to be very clear before I move on. Experience is not what you got paid to do. Experience is experience. If you have Hack the Box, or if you have a home lab, or if you have things that you do, you can put it in the experience section. If you're a volunteer somewhere, you can put it in the experience section. Experience is experience. It's not because you got paid or told what to do. So make sure that you're not neglecting things that you've done because someone didn't pay you to do them. All right, so if I go down here, let me show you what the turkey looks like after I've cooked it for 5.5 hours. Is that it looks like this. Do you see that each section starts with a bullet point? Please, for the love of God, put bullet points in your LinkedIn profile. The reason why is because human beings are okay with bullet points. If they see a big block of text, they're like, no, I will not read. So if you have bullet points here, the human goes, I'll read a couple. So produced, creative, valuable, created, led, developed, oversaw, engaged, attended. Do you know why there's spaces in between? Just to make it easy for you to read. That's it. There's spaces in between to make it easy for you to read. Because here's how human beings have become over the last couple years. We like tweets and Facebook posts. Tweets and Facebook posts. And so this is like tweet, 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 280 characters. Don't go over that. All right, then down here I got some stuff I added. Anyway, so why is this important? Because you're going to apply for jobs, you're going to create custom tailored resumes, you're going to do stuff like that. But then recruiters, these magical job fairies, will come along, like, let's say FireEye, which is now called Trellis or something. I don't know what it's called right now. It's there it is, Trellix. We are now Trellix. Thank you, FireEye. All right, so if I go over here to people, and if you didn't know this was a function inside LinkedIn, you do now. If you type in recruiter, there's 6 of them. Hi, Kelly, Peter, Dixon, Lishba, I think. What you could do is, here's a university recruiter at FireEye. If any of you right now are in college, you could essentially reach out to Kelly here on LinkedIn, and she has her messages locked. Boo. Doesn't mean you can't send a message. You totally can. If you have a premium LinkedIn account, you can send a message to anybody in LinkedIn world. You can do that. But here's the workaround to that, is if you look at someone's activity feed on LinkedIn and you see if they have anything, Kelly doesn't use LinkedIn. So we're going to move on from Kelly. Kelly was a terrible example. All right, so let's go over here to Microsoft. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so we go to Microsoft, and then that's a computer company, apparently. And then if you go over here to people, and then we type in recruiter, they got 225,000 people that work there. There we go. I'm going to increase my odds. All right, so we have 2,493 magical job fairies that work here. We got Jessica, Global Talent Acquisition Recruiter. We got a Senior Talent Sourcer Recruiter at Microsoft. We got a recruiter here, Jamal. Let's go ahead and click here. Messages, locked. That's fine. That's okay. I know, boo, thank you. All right, so we go down here to look at his activity. Nailed it. All right, good. So as of 5 days ago, if you ever see a LinkedIn profile, it will show you the post date. So this was posted 5 days ago, but Jamal interacted with it. If you didn't know, LinkedIn is the world's biggest tattletale on social media. They will tell you exactly what you've been doing, what you commented on, what you shared, all that stuff. And so I scroll down through here, and I see that Jamal was used like 2 weeks ago. Well, who's this person? I start doing some crazy OSINT on recruiters. I will find out everything about them. I will find, no. Just send that letter. Okay, so when you look through here, sometimes what you'll find is they'll actually post jobs, or they'll post friends, or they'll post this, or they'll post that. Now, whenever they post a job, one of the things that you can do is add on to the message, like, hey, I see that you posted this job for such and such position. Would it be possible to reach out and talk to you for 10 to 15 minutes to find out more about the role and to introduce myself to the company? You can totally do that. And what this recruiter is going to do in response is like, who are you? Yes. And they will click on your profile, and you've just fleshed it out. You made it look nice. You filled in all those different categories of all the things that you can do because you harvested from other bullet points. And when someone gets to your profile, they're like, solid. That looks good. In fact, we're hiring for a position very similar to that. I have seen this work at least 207 times. The main takeaways from today is this. Resumes suck. That's the main takeaway. But the thing is that we suck at describing ourselves. We're much better at finding something to describe to ourselves. So go harvest every single job description you can possibly find to find things that are true about you. This includes the job that you want and jobs that you've had in the past. Because you can go through and find jobs you've had in the past and really fill out all the things that you were capable of. Once you do that, then fill out your LinkedIn profile. And then after that, anywhere that you want to work, you find a job description that you want to apply for, you will then apply for that job and then find the recruiters at that company to introduce yourself to and then say, hi, my name is, would it be possible to talk about this job for a few minutes? And not every one of them will respond. That is not what this is about. But don't say no on behalf of somebody else. When you reach out to that person, you are not expecting a response in return, but do not say no on behalf of them. Send the message and let them say no, but sometimes they say yes. And that's how you get your next job. And that's it. All right.